people, we don't learn about generational trauma was one that I will not shut up about, because it's like, it's continuous and it's passed down to me. And I bet you, unfortunately, because of how sociology and anthropology works, is it's probably going to get passed down to my future children. So it was rage. I had a moment where I really hated white people. I loathed them. I didn't want to be, and of course I'm in Ventura, which is a very freaking white area. It's like middle class, suburban-ish. And so I just, everywhere I go, I was like, I hate all of you and all of you, because y'all, it's your ancestors. Y'all are the reason of XYZ. And so it's not that I played victim. I just was really mad at the world. And then came acceptance. I'm like, you know what? It happened. This is a point in history. It may not be happening now, but I mean, we still have forms of slavery. We have, mass incarceration, as you said, you tap into, which could be another segment for another day, but different things that are systematically oppressing our people. But with that being said, can I change it in one day? No, but my goal is to change it in, at least change it in the best way I can and I have access to in my little place. And so acceptance, and then of course came joy and celebration. And I was like, you know what? My people did not just leave trauma and grief, and my history did not start from violence, right? Just like your history, our history did not start with slavery. It was rich before and it's rich now. And let me hold on to what's left, and then share it, because once I had the privilege and honor to meet, I'd still stay in touch with elders that know the Lakota ways. And even though it's not my tribe and it's not my ancestry, Lakota and Chumash, because I'm on Chumash land right now, I'll still learn it. I'll take it. I'm like, give it to me. I'm hungry. I want to know the native ways. How did you, like, for example, women's circles, that's a native thing. Women's circles, and then just listening to your elders, how they think and how they spoke and how they carried themselves. Because we have to remember, we have this unconscious American ideology, whether we understand it or not, or know it or not, we are still thinking very American. And so when I hear them speak, I'm like, oh shit, you're right. We're not separate from nature. We're not separate from land. We come one in one. And so just little things like that, where I am like, wow, like my culture is so beautiful. It's so rich. Let me share it with you. And then you want to share it with the younger generation and the next ones, right? And plant those seeds. As I spoke about before, is like, and then you can't fathom, just like Anita was saying, you can't fathom the fact that you wanted to be so white and you did not want to have anything to do with your culture, because of the misconceptions of it, right? We did not come from savages. We did not come from greedy people. We came from rich and beautiful people that were not only kings and queens, but just the things they invented, the things that they created, the songs, the food, just all the beauty. And yeah, of course, I'm going to sing and praise it. And I'm not going to let anybody ever let us or I shut up about it, right? Because we've been silenced for so many years, damn near centuries. And so that's all I wanted to add. So if people are in the rage moment, that is normal. And then the grieving moment, as Anita was saying, yeah, because especially I did my research was on indigenous land. So like up in Washington, I interviewed this lady who was, she was from a tribe from Washington, Yakima. She was from the Yakima Nation. And just the way she talks about how she grieved for the whole, like it's a whole generation of children who were in the boarding schools and were raped and killed. And it's like, I can't imagine someone saying your existence is wrong. So let me fix you. Let me strip you from your language and change your hair and chop your hair and your color, everything about you is wrong. So we're going to fix you. And it's like those voices are still there. Those souls are still there. And no one talks about it as much, right? There isn't justice for things like that. There isn't justice for slavery. There isn't justice for that type of violence, the inhumanity in that. But again, that's not all that's left from our culture. There's so much more rich than that. I'm gonna hop off my soapbox. I'm sorry. But
No, it's all good.
y'all have any I know we're wrapping it up. It's been an hour. I could talk for hours with y'all, but y'all want to have any last comments for our listeners? Lani, Anita, any last little tips or anything, last thing you want to say?
Lani.
I'd say what I would tell the little girl I was, the little Black girl I would tell her that regardless of the way people see you or try to treat you or push onto you and your character, keep your heart pure, because it works out in the end, and that's for everyone, but that's especially to myself, because I didn't went through a lot dealing with privilege. As much as I had pride in who I was, there was a lot of pain in that, and the pain that I endured sometimes was ignored, and I had to go through it just by myself, and that's totally fine. Like, I am who I am now. But I would tell anybody growing into who they are in this pyramid of society, just give your heart to who you are. That's the only purpose I think that you have in this life, is giving your heart to who you are 100%. You can't, when you come out into this world, you can't change who you are. You can't, you can, but I think if you learn that young, or you instill that in your children young, you'll have so much more power in the world, because you'll be comfortable and nobody can tell you anything other than how to teach you how to use that in your power. Mm-hmm. And I would say my last comment for that would be I just had an ADD moment.
You blank.
It's okay.
I just had an ADD moment, but yeah, just give your heart to who you are. I was gonna say, I feel like the higher you get on that pyramid, the more resources you have, the more access you have. Don't be scared to embrace your bottom, because you're gonna end up at the top, whether it's with yourself, whatever you believe. We didn't even get to the religious part of privilege, but whatever you believe is your calling and the higher purpose, you at the end of the day, get comfortable with where you are at, because there's so much more for you to discover. That's a spiritual journey. So when you give your heart to learning who you are and accepting that, you have the power, regardless of how the world sees you. And that's my ending message.
Thank you, Lani. Anita?
I would say be loud and be proud, because they tried to silence our voices for centuries, and they're still trying to silence our voices now. Assimilation is still happening. Colonization is still happening, and they want us to remain silent. And if we give in to that, then we will be lost. We will lose everything, and that's not what we want. And I don't want that. I'm pretty sure communities don't want that. We will fight till the very end for our survival, and we just have to be loud and be proud. And if you want to speak on certain issues, if you want to talk about it, post about it, I know that there's going to be people that tell you to shut up, and I suggest that you don't ever shut up. Block them. I don't know, punch them in the face. Just kidding. Don't do that. Maybe, I don't know if they're violent with you. But you need to be loud. There's no time to be silent. There's beauty within us. There's beauty on the outside of us. And be outspoken.
Silence is compliance to the oppressor. I forgot who said that. But just to close off with y'all, one to add on to what Lani said. I say dismantle that period. I think all complexions are so damn beautiful, whether you're Asian, Filipino, Samoan, you're African, you're Afro-Latina, Cubana, whoever, I know this podcast reaches everyone around the US, so I want them to be aware, regardless of your complexion. I say mix it up, and there shouldn't be. We wanted the end goal is to dismantle that period, and there should no one should be on top. There should be equity, and I don't mean equality, because equality and equity are very different. But then we might, then we can talk about liberation and freedom. But until then,
we want to be equal.
Exactly. I
don't want to be equal to white people.
We have 5 tips on how to be an ally. So 1 is understand your privilege. 2, listen and do your homework. So hold yourself accountable. Do not have BIPOC folks try and teach you about racism and privilege. Do your own homework, pick up a book, listen to a podcast like this one. Just do your own research. Number 3, speak up and not over. So make space. If you happen to be, for example, at a Black Lives Matter committee or gathering, let them speak, let them lead. It's their organization and their group. You are just an ally. That's just an example. 4, you'll make mistakes, but apologize when you do. I know nobody's perfect, but that's how you'll get better. 5, ally is a verb. So your allyship should be continuous. It's not like, oh yeah, I went to a women's march and then, doop-de-doop. That's all I got for the year. It's continuous. And last thing I just want to say is I want to thank y'all so much for listening to us. We have over 500 and some listeners. So we're just really grateful. I still get DMs about, just the praises and the appreciation just from people around the US. So we want to thank you so much. Of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on De La Roots if you haven't done so. We're also available on iTunes. And stay tuned with us in 2 weeks. Not next Friday, but the following Friday, we will be talking about generational trauma and toxic parenting in the Latinx community, and just also in general. So I want to thank y'all so much. Thank you again to Lani. If you want to follow them on Instagram, we will be providing it in our summary for this episode. Follow them on Instagram, show them some love, and just thank you for joining us. This was a very rich conversation, and we hope to have you back soon. So thank y'all so much once again. This is De La Roots with Mireya and Anita. Take care.